Welcome back. It's winter in Wisconsin, so that means when you have no heated garage, you find stuff to do inside. So, what I've been working on the last several days is putting together these coilovers that I got off of a guy on Facebook Marketplace. So, these are Koni yellows, so they're an adjustable. You can see they got a little adjuster up here. Just turn that and you can change the stiffness of the rebound. They're a single adjustable shock, and then it's got coilover springs and ground control coilover sleeves and perches. I got this whole thing kind of incomplete, and they've got some miles on them for $300, which I think is pretty good. These two here are the front ones. These two are the rear ones. I think the spring rates are 400 inches per pounds per inch for the front, and then the rears are 350 pounds per inch. And these are a pretty standard springs, so they're probably not as stiff as I'd like them to be. At some point I may put 500s in the front and move the 400s to the rear, but we'll get it going like this for starters. So these came, like I said, they were taken off a car, and some of the parts are missing. One of the parts that are missing is the captive nut on this one. Looks like there was maybe a little bit of rust, and probably the spot welds that hold that on came out with when they took it off. It's no big deal. They're not leaking, so I think they'll work okay. So I want to show you here. I'll take the springs off. And I'll balance these on the edge of the table so I can knock them off for you. Alright, so each one they come with jam nuts. They didn't come with top hats. One of them didn't come with the little plastic piece that goes between the body of the shock and the bump stop. But I can fix that problem. I 3D printed a replacement out of PETG. So that fixed that problem. Like I said, had no top hats for them. I am going to have to buy a pair of jam nuts because there's one of them is missing. Jam nuts. The other thing that I bought, because this car is intended to be an autocross, focused on autocross, it's going to be run at a pretty low ride height. And these Koni shocks are basically stock length. So when you have the car sitting lower than stock, you use up. So the shock can move up and down that much. So if, say, they're intended to be mounted at this height on a stock ride height, when you lower the height of your car, you lose some compression travel. But if you get extended top hats, which is what these are, like this, instead of the shock being mounted, let's see if I can balance these. Instead of the shock being mounted, like towards the middle here, the top of the shock, it gets moved up some. So it's actually mounted like up here, so you gain this much travel back. So as I said, Ground Control makes basically this exact top hat. This is an eBay or Amazon, China special top hat. These come with a shorter bump stop, which I think I'll use. And all four, the front and rear, use the same mounts, so that'll work pretty good, I think. So I bought 4 of these. They came with the bump stop. They came with these bushings, which are supposed to go, so if I can show you, like this, one on the top, and then one goes on the bottom like that. Okay. I don't want to use these because I think they're made of Delrin, which is like the hardest, most inflexible plastic known to man, pretty much. I mean, they feel like aluminum if you squeeze them. So there's no play at all in there. The problem with that is when you mount this. Let me do this with one hand here. I can't. Here we go. When you mount this on the shock, when the shock goes through its range of motion, this hat needs to be able to wobble a little bit. And when you have those solid bushings up here, it doesn't really allow this to wobble at all. So the actual ground control top hats have a polyurethane bushing. That's what it looks like to me, at least. So what I did is, rather than try to use these, I did have some leftover rubber bushings. I thought about using those, which I could do, but I thought it might be interesting to 3D print bushings for it. So as you can see here, these are basically the same dimensions with a smaller center hole to fit the shock shaft a little bit better. Now these are a TPU filament, which is a flexible, somewhat flexible rubber filament. So this is actually TPU, which is a urethane. So it's kind of similar to what you would get in the ground control kit if you actually bought the proper ground control parts. I put that one in upside down, but that'll be okay. So this will go, if I can do this without hurting myself. Like so. There will be a thick washer. It sits on this lip here. So this is just for mock-up purposes to show you how it'll fit. So it'll look like that. Another part that was missing is cushions for the spring to ride on. So I also 3D printed that. So I came up with this again out of the TPU material. Here you can see how flexible it is now. So that's like a 95 durometer polyurethane. So that'll go like that. And then when it gets assembled, that'll be captured in there like so. So I think I've got all the parts I need to actually assemble this. So I'll put it together and then I'll show you what I've got. you doing, girls? I need you to come back out after you do that, please.
Her shoes!
Did you hear me?
Huh?
Come back out as soon as you find her.
Her shoes are gone!
Then she must be back. She's on the front porch. Close the door.
Oh no.
She was on the front porch. You ran right by her.
Huh?
She's on the front porch. You ran right by her. Here it is with the suspension at full compression. It's on the bump stop, just starting to touch it, and the upper control arm is about to hit inside here, and it's touching the plastic guard inside, so that might have to go away. But that's pretty good travel, I would say. Alright, well, it's a little dark out here, but coilovers are on. My 3D printed bushings are on the bottom there. This is the last part of the suspension episode, I guess I would say. Oh, look at all that crap falling down in front of my screen. That's pretty cool. I did buy this aluminum brace here. If you can see it, there we go. The bolts onto the subframe. I also put this rear anti-roll bar on the car. This bar is a 23 millimeter, I think. It's an eBay bar that I got for Christmas. And then I bought this brace off of eBay. It's a copy of an ASR brace. I think it was about 30 bucks. Bar was like $100. Yeah, if you don't put the brace on when you put the big bar on, if you put a rear bar on that's any bigger than the stock, like Integra non-type R bar, you need to put one of these braces on here. Otherwise, the mounting holes on the subframe will tear out, and that's a bad scene, as you might imagine. With this brace, you don't have that problem. So a lot of guys will put these on, and they'll put the cast aluminum, bare aluminum ones on there, and then they'll put the bare aluminum arms on there, so you see all that crap when you're driving down the road behind them, without a rear bar, which is totally pointless. I don't think it does anything without a bar. So I'm running stock control arms with stock bushings, except for the shock bushings, which are 3D printed out of urethane, and then the rear bar, Koni coilovers, and that's pretty much the rear setup. And this concludes my suspension episode.